Hello.
Hi.
We are back with our most
anticipated.
Oh, that was cute. That was really cute. I didn't know you were going to do that. We're just talking about the most anticipated for the second half of the year.
Fall 2020.
Right?
Get
now that
hyped.
we've hit July.
Yep.
Almost.
All the good books come out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's...
And most of the things that I'm excited for is there's a lot of series that are being finished up.
I call this the era of the purple book covers because it seems like the final book in a lot of these book series are purple. The first book that we're really hyped for is coming out this December, and that is Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. This is the final book in her Ember in the Ashes quartet. Super hype. I think we're both planning on rereading the first 3 books before we read the 4th one, but I do remember that the 3rd one had a really good cliffhanger at the end, and I'm really interested in seeing how all these character arcs conclude.
It's been a while since we read the first ones too. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We read it, which is crazy to think about because I feel like I just reread it. So I'm really excited to reread the whole entire series and actually be able to finish it. I'm kind of upset though because of everything that's going on. There probably won't be any in-person events because when the 3rd one came out, we actually went to 2 different book signings with Sabaa Tahir. I love Sabaa Tahir's panels. If you can go see her in person, please do. She's really interesting, very insightful.
Yeah, and she's very articulate, and she talks a lot about the writing process, which I find fascinating.
Yeah, because a lot of events you go to, and people are just kind of asking, fangirl questions, which, are fine, but you also want to hear about the good stuff. And so she does, answer a lot of questions about the process of writing and her craft. So the next book that I'm also really excited for is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this book follows a girl who, I believe she lives forever, and it's set in 1714 France. And Addie is she lives forever, but she also has this curse where everybody she meets is destined to forget her. But then 300 years after she meets this person, he remembers her. I'm assuming that it's going to be about their relationship, and I'm just really excited because you had me at 1714 France.
I'm also really excited because I think V.E. Schwab has a really, really unique imagination, and a lot of her standalones... Is this a standalone?
I don't know.
Well, if this book is or is not a standalone, V.E. Schwab's worlds and her concepts are all really interesting. With Darker Shade of Magic, 4 Londons and 4 different worlds. Only V.E. Schwab could come up with stuff like that.
Yeah, and she goes really into depth with her characters, which is something I also really appreciate. It's almost July right now, and a lot of people are getting arcs already, and so far the reviews are very, very positive. So I'm so excited!
And the next book that I will be reading and been very highly anticipating at the end of this year is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, which is the final book in the Poppy War trilogy. And I'm very interested to see how it ends because I loved the Poppy War. It was my favorite book of the year that it came out, which I think was 2018. Stop picking at your face. Honestly, the Dragon Republic was weird because I really didn't like that book as much as the first one. It was... I'm not gonna get into it, but I didn't really care for the second one as much, which is why I am really interested to see how she ends it, and it makes me wonder if she's able to come back from that kind of second book syndrome. Again, we have another finale coming up, and everything that Rin has been fighting for, and just everything that's been building up in the first 2 books is going to finally come to an end. A lot of shit's going to go down. I know it.
My next most anticipated book is The Captive Kingdom by Jennifer Nielsen. I've talked about this book a lot, this series. It's the 4th book to the Ascendance trilogy. And also note, it's called the Ascendance trilogy, and this is the 4th book. I love this series. It's one of my favorite series. It's really, really solid middle grade series, and a solid trilogy. Follows a young boy named Sage. He's basically kidnapped by this nobleman named Connor, and he's forced to compete with 3 other boys to see who can become like the long lost Prince Jaren. And Connor's trying to pass him off so he can have like a puppet on the throne. I really like this series. I really do. Like, all the characters are very charming. I love the main character, Sage. He's very witty and always one step ahead. I am going to read the fourth one, but I'm very cautiously optimistic about it just because I don't think it really needs a fourth book. And I don't want it to undo good things that had been done in the original trilogy. I know, like, this is the most anticipated video. And, like, if it's good, like, great. Like, I'm excited, but I just don't know. But, like, I'm gonna read it, so it's on my most anticipated list. Like,
basically, it ended really well.
Yeah.
But you want to see what she has in store next.
yes. As long as it's good.
And the next book that I'm really hyped for is The Memory of Babel by Crystal Dabos, or maybe I've been pronouncing her name wrong this whole time. Maybe it's Crystal Dabos because she's French, but we're going to ignore that. I'm really stoked for this third book because this is a quartet, so there's still another one that has to be released. I think they've both already been released in France, but like they're being translated, and anyway, the third translation is coming out at the end of this year. The second one left on a really, really good cliffhanger, and I really want to see how this love story goes because, again, something I mentioned in our previous videos, the love story is kind of the highlight of these books for me because it's been a long, long time since I have read an enemies to lovers trope that was written really well, and this book does it, and it's paced perfectly. Also, like, kind of worried too because the third book, there's no spoilers, but there is a time skip, and that always makes me nervous when there's a time skip. I've heard a lot of good things from people who have read the books in countries where it's already come out.
My last most anticipated book is Return of the Thief by Megan Wallen Turner. This is one of my favorite series ever, and I'm so excited because Megan Wallen Turner has literally taken like 20 years to write this series. This first book in the series came out in the 90s, and now the last one is finally coming out in 2020 after being delayed multiple times. It was supposed to come out March last year, and I was really distraught.
Here was my hopes and dreams.
It was awful.
Go away! I'm mourning.
She finished the most recent book around the time when Return of the Thief was supposed to come out, so it would have been perfect timing.
And I was also supposed to get my wisdom teeth out at the same time, so I remember being really angry because I was like, it's gonna be my reward for getting my teeth pulled out of my face, and no, it wasn't. Yeah, this series follows a thief named Jen. Each book is very different. It follows like a different aspect of his life, I would say. It's like a continuation of his story, but they're all very different. And then the third, fourth, and fifth books actually have different character perspectives. Like, he's still in it, but you're just seeing it from a new character's point of view. Finally, Return of the Thief is going back to Jen's point of view, which is what I'm like so excited about because it like the other point of views are interesting, but there's nothing like Jen. So that's why I'm really excited for the last book to come out.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us on our most anticipated books of like the end of 2020. We hope that you read these books along with us and are just excited for their release as we are. Let us know in the comments what your favorite, or sorry, most anticipated
books are. Because there's a lot coming out in 2020, and this is a very, very brief video. Oh, and also, I always forget to say this. Make sure to like our video and subscribe. That's probably why we only have 11 subscribers, because we never tell you to subscribe.
You whore.